on essential skills for professional development in higher education. Now, I would like to invite our executive staff member, Mrs. Gomadi, to introduce our today's resource person. Gomadi ma'am, welcome you.
A very good evening to all of you. It's my distinct pleasure and honor to welcome Dr. T. Anita, an esteemed associate professor from the Postgraduate Department of Commerce at STNB Vaishnav College for Women, Chennai. Dr. Anita brings with her wealth of knowledge and experience, having dedicated over 2 decades to the field of education. With this stellar academic background, including a PhD in Commerce from the University of Madras and an impressive array of publication in reputed journals, Dr. Anita exemplifies dedication to research and academic excellence. Her recent contributions include significant research projects funded by ICSSR and multitude of insightful publications that have enriched the academic community. Beyond academia, Dr. Anita has taken on various leadership roles with the college, notably as Dean of College, Event Management Coordinator, and a valued member of several college committees. Her commitment to shaping young minds extends beyond the classroom, evident in her roles as a resource person, examiner, and subject expert at extremely institutions across the region. Dr. Anita's personal strength of meticulous planning and exceptional time management and a relentless pursuit of knowledge underscore her dedication to both her profession and personal growth. Her contributions to academic and administrative spheres make her a beacon of inspiration for students and colleagues alike. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. T. Anita. We look forward to our continued guidance and leadership in shaping the further of education in our institution. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I would express my gratitude to Mr. Shekhar sir, founder, Star International Foundation for Research and Education, for inviting me as a resource person for this 7 days online FDP on essential skills for professional development in higher education. Here today, I'm just going to give my perception with respect to stress management. The term stress was first coined in the field of physics by the British. 1 minute, I'll just share my screen. The term stress was initially coined in the field of physics by British physicist and the engineer Sir George Gabriel Stokes in mid-19th century. So he has coined the term stress. From in the mid-19th century, and from then this terminology has been into existence. He used this term mainly to describe, since he is a physicist, he used this to describe the force exerted on the material when it is subject to external pressure or to a strain upon a material. Okay, later, this concept of stress was adopted and applied to psychology and physiology by other researchers. To name a few are Walter Cannon and Hans Selye. They both have developed the term which has been coined by Sir George Gabriel. The term stress, which was coined by Sir John Gabriel, was further developed by or used for psychology and physiological purpose by Walter Cannon and Hans Selye. They use this term mainly for psychological purpose in early mid 20th century, where it become widely used to describe the psychological response to various challenges and demands which has been faced by people. So they introduced this term in different contexts, and its application to human response to pressure and challenges were developed and popularized by later researchers. So many authors have conducted the research. So Stress is nothing but it is a state of tension that arises when you experience demands from your environment or from inside within oneself. So these are the key developments of stress and stress management. So as I said earlier, in 1960s and 70s, exactly in the year 1950s, Hans Selye's work on stress, and he worked on general adaptation syndrome. So for understanding the stress as a physiological responses. Later, in the year 1980 and to 90s, this the programs such as mindfulness based stress reduction was developed by John Kabat-Zinn, gained popularity for their effectiveness in stress regulation. In from 2000s till present, techniques such as cognitive behavioral therapy, relaxation techniques, time management strategies, physical exercise are commonly used in stress management program. So we are aware of what is stress and who has coined this term. Now, let us move on to how does this stress management has developed. This was emerged in later half of 20th century as researchers and practitioners began to focus on the various strategies and techniques to help an individual to cope up with or to reduce the negative effects of the stress. So, so in 20th century, this stress management was developed by researchers mainly to reduce the negative effect of stress, which has been which has been undergone by an individual. Obviously, the stress management encapsulates it encapsulates a variety of approaches and practices, which is aiming at helping an individual to better cope up with the stress and to improve resilience and maintain the health and the well-being. So it also helps in growing the awareness of the impact of stress on individuals and the need for effective strategies to mitigate its negative effect. We all are aware the stress may be of positive stress and negative stress. Positive stress is definitely going to help us in a positive manner so as to cope up with the stress. But negative stress it reflects in the other way, which we will see in the following slides. Okay. So generally, what does the term stress states? It is a natural response to any challenges or demands which we face in our day to day life. It is mainly triggered by two types of factors which we normally know, like external stresses and internal stresses. External stresses, the causes which arise from outside from the external environment. Internal stresses are the causes which arise from within. So we will come across various physical stress, psychological stress, environmental stress which we are facing. Normally, the stress is generally it is defined as any change that causes physical, emotional, or mental strain within an individual. So everyone will experience this stress to some degree, but the proportion of how much of stress we undergo varies from one person to another. The way you respond to the stress which you are facing in your day-to-day life makes a big difference of the overall mental and physical well-being of which differentiates from each others. So we cannot avoid stress. We undergo stress. We will definitely undergo stress in our day-to-day life. But the way we manage stress, the way we utilize stress management techniques will help us to cope up with the stress. So the best way to manage your stress is to involve in changing your situation. Suppose if I feel like undergoing a stress, I definitely would require or would need to change the situation, which will definitely help me to cope up with the stress. Or at the other point of time, you can even use best strategy to respond to the very bad situation also. The strategies which we adopt also will make us to face or take it as a challenge and solve the issues. So clear understanding of how stress impacts your physical and mental health is very, very important. It is also important to recognize how your mental and physical health will affect your stress level. So it is generally we know what is stress. It is a state of worry or mental tension which is caused by any problematic situation which we are facing. It is very natural in human response that it prompts us to address the challenge and threats which we are facing in our day-to-day life. So it is very natural. Stress is it has become very natural nowadays, and it has become inevitable part of every human life. So by understanding its mechanism, and we have to learn how to manage it in order to significantly improve the overall well-being and the quality of our life. That is very, very important. So simple to say, it is the stress is a physical, mental, and emotional response to challenging and or demanding situation which we are facing in our day-to-day life, and it occurs when an individual perceives a discrepancy between the demand of the situation and the availability to cope up with with those demands. In case if we aren't we have demands, human wants, needs, and demands keep on changing. Suppose we aren't able to cope up, or we aren't able to meet those demands, definitely we will undergo a stress. So stress can be, it can manifest those with the various symptoms out of stress. Suppose if I'm undergoing a stress, the symptoms which we normally get is a physical tension or emotional distress, and thinking difficulties, cognitive difficulties. All these are some of the symptoms which will arise within a human if he or she is undergoing a stress. And this stress can be of both short term and long term effects on overall well-being. It cannot be eradicated, but it can be over a short term period, or it can be over a long term period. It depends upon how are we coping up the stress by using certain stress management techniques. Next. So next, let's move on to various categories of stress. You have 8 categories of stress. We'll discuss one by one: acute stress, chronic stress, physical stress, psychological stress, emotional stress, environmental stress, social stress, and workplace stress. What is acute stress? So acute stress is nothing but a short-term stress which arises from immediate demands or pressure. Say, for example, when we are going to workplace, when we are going to college, if we are being stuck in a traffic, okay, definitely that particular situation which we are facing will be in more tensed manner, where we'll think that it'll definitely get delayed just because of this traffic to reach our college or to reach the workplace on time. So this is a sudden experience which we undergo at times when we move on to when we are outside, when we are about to reach our workplace. So that is why I told acute stress is a short-term stress. Why? Because once that traffic is cleared, then obviously we'll be back to our normal state of mind. We would have undergone stress when we are stuck in a heavy traffic. But once that has been cleared, and when we are moving, then we have crossed that situation, and we'll be back to our normal work mode. So this sudden experience of stress might increase headaches or feeling anxiety, or will be nervous at that situation because it is getting delayed, as we are not able to reach the workplace on time. So acute stress is always a short-term stress which we experience in a current situation, and once that situation is past, we'll just forget it and we'll be back to our normal. Next one is a chronic stress. Chronic stress is just the opposite of acute stress. Here it is a long-term stress that persists over an extended period. It can be caused by ongoing situations, or it can be occurred because of unresolved issues. Say, for example, if we are in financial difficulties where we aren't able to meet our debts. So at that time, definitely we will undergo a stress which causes where we can identify that we have undergone a stress based on the symptoms like depression, anxiety or sleep disorderedness. So these are some this chronic stress no will normally lead us to serious health problems. Okay, so it is a long term stress which persists over a period of time. So that is what is the main difference between acute and chronic. Next, we'll move on to physical stress. Physical stress that is caused by physical exertion or strain over a body. So that leads to lack of sleep or say, for example, if we are under rigorous exercise, then or intense physical labor, when your body is under physical exertion, so that leads to physical stress. So your muscle soreness might happen. The symptoms which where you could identify that you have undergoing a physical stress is fatigue or muscle soreness or overall physical exhaustion. All these are the symptoms which causes physical stress. Next one is psychological stress. Psychological stress mainly arises from emotional or mental strain. So, say for example, the symptoms which I undergo because of the psychological stress is my mood swings or difficulty in concentrating in any particular work or emotional instability. These are some of the symptoms which we will normally undergo when we are under psychological stress. The next one is emotional stress, which is this stress is mainly caused by when human is facing some emotional challenges. Okay, if there is any conflict within our family members, or if we experience more major life changes, or if we are losing our dear ones. So in such a case where human might be more emotional, so he or she might undergo emotional stress. The next one is environmental stress. So this stress is results out of external conditions. Say, for example, if there is a noise pollution in my location, or if in a particular place, if where I am is overcrowded. So, or if there is any extreme changes in extreme weather condition, all these are the environmental or external condition which creates environmental stress. Next one is social stress. Social stress arises from social interactions with our uh, with our near ones. So it creates peer pressure. Like if our seniors are giving more work pressure, and we are in a position to complete the task which has been assigned to us. So peer pressures are more, or if I'm socially isolated, or if there is any conflict within my family, all these creates anxiety in the social situations. We will experience he or she who's undergoing the social stress will feel like he want to be loneliness and withdraw from any social activities. We will never mingle with the society. We will never go for any so mingling with others in the society. So if such a type of stress is called social stress. And the last one is workplace stress. Stress, especially related to job demands or the work environment, causes workplace stress. Say, for example, if I face high job demands or lack of control over my work, or if I'm not able to balance my work and life, poor work life balance, then definitely that leads to burnouts or decreased productivity, or I will not be satisfied with the job which I am performing. So this is what is workplace stress. So these are the categories of stress. Next is the common causes of stress. So work-related stress, work-related stress here, as I discussed earlier, if you have high job demands like excessive workload or unrealistic deadlines. Suppose if I've been assigned a task by my higher official, and the deadline is very short a period of time, then definitely where I have been overloaded, but I have to complete the task within few days, within a couple of days, then definitely that reflects high job demands, and which causes me more stress. So when I am expected to complete at the earliest, then that creates a stress in my mind, because having a faith in me, people are assigning me job. If I am not able to complete, then that obviously creates more stress. Sometimes even if my job is insecure, fear of losing my job, then definitely that also creates work related, that also reflects under work related stress. Or if there is any workplace conflicts, that like if there is any arguments or disagreements or any tension with my colleagues or supervisors or higher officials, then definitely that also creates that is also a major cause of work related stress. Next comes financial problems. This is yet another major cause of stress, where if a person is struggling to manage or pay off his debt, definitely he will undergo definitely he will undergo the stress. So if I'm not able to meet up with financial, if there is a sudden cause that disrupts my financial stability, then that definitely causes more stress for a human. Then the health issues, suppose if there is an ongoing health problem which is that require continuous management to cope up with my health, then definitely that leads to stress. If I want to follow a very strict diet, or if I am say worrying about my health conditions, or if I need to have a regular doctor visit, then that all these will definitely reflect, all these are the health issues which causes stress. Next is the relationship problem. Any issues related to family conflicts or marital issue will definitely cause stress. Then major life changes. If there is any changes in my life, say for example, if I'm relocating to a new house or to a new city, then definitely in order to accommodate with that new environment and making new friends, or adjusting to the new environment or to the new place will definitely cause a stress to a few. So if there is any major life changes, then that also will definitely cause stress. If there is any academic pressures, as teachers, we will face some academic pressures like preparing or taking preparing for any academic purpose, then definitely that leads to, or completing project work, or paper presentation, or whatever it may be, journal publication. So if we are in put up in we are supposed to do this, if such a case arises, then definitely that leads to stress. So academic pressure also leads to stress. Then environmental factors, as I told earlier, no, pollutions which where I am facing with, or any environmental living or working environment condition will definitely cause stress. Then my personal, yet another cause for stress is my personal expectation, where I am if my expectation multiplies, or if I am placing high demands on myself, then that creates self pressure within oneself. So obviously personal expectation is also a best cause of stress. So understanding stress and recognizing its sign where I'm going, whether I am under stress, will, if I understand that, that will definitely help us to manage stress more effectively. Next, these are some of the, let's move on to the symptoms of stress. Stress normally it manifests in a variety of symptoms. It affects physical, emotional, cognitive, and behavioral health. And some of the symptoms are, say, for example, if I'm having a physical symptoms may reflect in a way like if I undergo headache, or any muscle tension, or fatigue, or sleep disturbance, or stomach issues, or rapid increase in heart rate, okay, palpitations, sweating, chest pain, frequent illness, all these are the symptoms of physical stress which we normally undergo if we are undergoing an acute stress. Okay, in acute stress, as I told earlier, it is a short term stress which everyone undergoes. So over a period of time, it will not persist. If I face a difficult situation, I undergo acute stress, and once that I have crossed that situation, then I'll be back to my normal. So physical symptoms with respect to acute stress are These are the physical symptoms. Next, we'll move on to emotional symptoms. Emotional symptoms like anxiety. Anxiety is nothing but feeling of worry and nervousness or fear. Okay, all these are the terminology which we use for anxiety. Then a depression, continuous feeling of sadness, hopelessness. All these leads to depression, mood swings, rapid change in our mood. For a certain period we'll be happy and immediately we'll move on to sad, or we'll show our anger to others. So when your mood swings, you would have undergone emotional, those are the emotional symptoms. Or restlessness, even restlessness is an emotional symptoms. Next one is cognitive symptoms. Cognitive symptoms is difficulty in concentrating when we are focusing on trouble or issue related task, or making any effective decisions. So definitely we find difficult to concentrate on any problem solving or any decision making process. Memory problem, is yet another symptom of cognitive stress, like forgetfulness or difficulty in remembering the information. So we find very difficult to recall what has happened, or what was told by our higher officials to perform a work. So if you undergo memory problem, that is the cognitive symptom. Negative thinking is also a cognitive symptom. Then poor judgment, making irrational or impulsive decision on others or on in a particular task, is also a cognitive symptom. Next, we'll move on to behavioral symptoms. Behavioral symptoms, if there is any change in the eating habit, like if I eat too much or if I eat too little, so my behavior keeps on changing. So that reflects, that is one example for behavioral symptoms. Of social withdrawal, as I told earlier, social stress, and we'll undergo social withdrawal, like avoiding social interaction or isolating ourselves, not mingling with others. We'll not mingle, or we'll not take part in any of the social activities. Sometimes we undergo nervous habit, even that is a behavioral symptom, like we'll be biting our nails frequently, or we'll scratch our hands, some sort of behaviors which is very nervous, which reflects our nervousness. That is also a behavioral symptoms. Even sleeping habits is our behavioral symptoms, where we sleep for too many hours together. Normally, a human will sleep for 7 to 8 hours a day, but irrespective of that, in spite of more than 8 hours, if you sleep too many hours of sleep, or too little hours of sleep, is also reflects your behavioral symptom. Next, we have psychological symptoms, where if you are anger and frustrated, that is one of your psychological symptoms. Or if you are less self-esteemed, if you feel like, if you doubt yourself, self doubt about oneself, that is a psychological symptom. So thus recognizing these symptoms is the first step in managing the stress. Once we have understood or recognized these symptoms, definitely we can cope up with the stress. Next, effective strategies to manage stress. As teachers, we need some effective strategies to manage stress. So first comes time management. Time management is very important, and it is the process of how you plan or exercise your conscious control over the amount of time you spend on a specific activity, mainly to increase the effectiveness, or to increase the efficiency, or to increase your productivity. Definitely, we want to have a control over the amount of time which we spend on a specific activity. So that is the foremost important strategy to manage the stress. Say, for example, if it involves how can we manage the time? First, we have to set the goals. We have to prioritize our tasks. We have to allocate time to each task. Make sure that the deadlines are met. So we have to set the goals first. Then we have to prioritize our task. Then we have to allocate the time for each task, and then we have to make sure that we are meeting the deadlines. So time allocation also should be allocated accurately. So it should be allocated properly, so that we are in a position to complete the task. So effective time management, it is definitely going to help an individual to work smarter rather than harder, and it enables him to accomplish more in less time, and it is definitely going to reduce that stress and achieve a better work-life balance. So prioritizing the task is most important. You have to list out the task and prioritize the task based on the importance and the deadlines. Once you have set the goal, you have to do that. Then you can even what is it, categorize the task by the importance. So we'll have certain tasks which are urgent and important. So those type of tasks we have to do it first. Immediate attention for which task we require immediate attention have to be given more importance, and it has to be completed promptly. So urgent and important have to be done first. Important but not urgent can be scheduled accordingly. The tasks which are important but can be scheduled for the later, which is not urgent, can be scheduled later. Urgent but not important, so there will be certain type of task which which we have to do quickly, but it may not be crucial. So it may not be important, but we have to do it urgent. So such a type of task can be delegated to others. We can delegate to our co-workers, so that we can concentrate on the important task. Not we'll have certain type of task which is not urgent and not important. So when a task is not urgent and not important, definitely we can eliminate, or even we can postpone that particular task which is least important. Then then the next important one is we have to set out the realistic goals, which is very, very essential for effective time management, and which is definitely going to reduce the stress. So we have to use SMART criteria. SMART here I refer to specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So SMART criteria is very, very important for effective time management and stress reduction. SMART, specific here to be your task should be specific. You should clearly define what you want to achieve. Measurable, again, you should determine how you will measure your success. Okay, in what way I'm going to perform, in what way I'm going to measure my success. Achievable, after setting the goals that are attainable, it is going to give you resources and the constraints which you will be facing, whether you'll be able to achieve or not. Definitely that is going to be reflected. So relevant, align your goals with your responsibilities and priorities. Time bound is very, very important. You have to set up a deadline for completion of the task. One example I could give you for setting up the realistic goals. Suppose, say, if we are to improve student engagement in class, this is what is my goal. My specific goal is to increase the student participation in the classroom discussion. How can I improve students' engagement in class? I have to make them participate in the classroom discussion. So I'm very specific about my goal. How can I measure? Aim for each student to contribute at least once per class. So how can I make them to, how can I measure every student at least once they have to come and or participate in the discussion. So if they are participating, I can measure easily that one is participating and who is not participating. Achievable, implement interactive activities and encourage questions. So once the discussion is going on within the students, I can make that discussion more interesting and asking them to interact. Okay, relevant, enhance students' learning and engagement. So definitely, whether my goal is relevant or not, if it is based on the students' learning and engagement. Time bound, to achieve this, it will take minimum 1 month for me to attain the goal, at least a week or so to attain the goal. So this is what is the best example for realistic goals. So setting realistic goals is yet another important. Delegation is also very important and crucial for managing the workload, and it is definitely going to reduce the stress. So identifying the task to delegate is also important. How can I delegate? By choosing a right person to perform this. Okay, only then I can delegate. Selecting a right person is very important. Then once I've selected a right person, I have to give him clear instruction for what type of a task it is and how he or she has to perform. So once that is done, I will just overview the task which has been performed by the person who has been to whom I have delegated. So, time management is definitely going to, if we are focusing on time management, definitely it is going to reduce the stress. Next important strategy is self-care. Self-care, here it refers to the activities and practices that engages to maintain and enhance physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It involves taking deliberate actions to care for oneself and ensures one needs are met. So, social self-care and spiritual, we could come across various self-cares like physical self-care, mental and emotional self-care. Sorry, I forgot to move my screen. 1 minute. So, as I told, time management, prioritizing the task, setting realistic goals, and delegation of work definitely is going to help in managing time. Next one is self-care. Self-care is very important, and it is this also is going to help us in coping up with the stress. So, regular exercise is very important, which is a very powerful tool for reducing the stress and improving the overall well-being. So, we need to practice this. Physical activity will definitely reduce stress level. So, next one is having healthy diet is yet another important which we definitely need to practice. Having a healthy diet is also very important. So, it is essential for managing stress and for maintaining the overall well-being. So, we have to plan and prepare the meal. Break what we are not whatever we eat should be a nutritious food, which will definitely improve our overall well-being. Once if we are physically strong, then definitely we are in a position to cope up the stress. So, there's normal sleeping time also. We'll have to sleep from 7 to 8 hours per night, which is very, very important, which will give a boost, or which will energize us to perform the daily task. So, that is very important. And relaxation is yet another important technique, which we have to spend at least 20 minutes for doing regular yogas or meditation or breathing exercise, which is very, very important to, which will keep our mind and we can keep our body relaxed. So, this is very, very important. So, self-care is definitely going to help us to cope up with the stress. The next one is the professional support. This is yet another strategy where you can, as a teacher, where we can cope up with the stress. It refers to the assistance or the guidance or the resources provided to the individual within their profession or within their work-related task. So, so professional development, like say, for example, we are attending workshop trainings to update ourselves. So, we are in need to update ourselves in the current, according to the changes in changing environment. We are in a position to adopt to the changing. We are in a position to adopt to those changing demands or needs. Definitely, we have to update ourselves. So, professional development is very, very important. In seeking mentorship, finding a mentor to discuss the challenges or to gain advice. Say, for example, if a person is undergoing a research, definitely he can go in seek of a research supervisor in order to get a guidance. So, supervision and management is very, very important. Peer support is yet another support which we have, which we will receive from our colleagues or peers within the areas or within where we are working with. So, sharing their experience and providing feedback or collaborating on any project work is very, very important. So, professional support is definitely going to help a person to get rid of the stress. So, these are some of the examples which I quoted for professional support, where you can engage in continuous learning and development, mainly to enhance our careers and to contribute effectively to the institutions or the organization where we are working with. So, this is very important. And the next important physical professional support is counseling services. This is also a very essential or important for an individual who is seeking support or guidance or assistance with any personal, emotional, or psychological challenges. say individual counseling definitely is going to help a person. One-on-one session between a counselor and the person is definitely going to help an individual addressing his personal issues. Like if he is undergoing a stress or anxiety or depression, one-on-one session will definitely help in addressing his personal issues. So, or career counseling also can be conducted. If I face any issues in my at my workplace, then definitely career counseling is going to I'll just explore my difficulties. So all these are definitely going to help in creating my career plan. So this is the next strategy. The next one is classroom management. As teachers, we definitely need to manage our class, which is very important. So classroom, organized classroom is very important. It plays an important role. It even helps us to reduce the stress. It is going to, classroom management is going to reduce stress for both teachers as well as for the students. So clear, what is expected from the students have to be, or what is expected from the teachers have to be clearly stated, so that it helps a teacher to definitely come out of the stress. So his expectation, what is expected from him, once that is known, then definitely we'll also prove ourselves in fulfilling those expectations. Then promotions of then proactive problem thinking. So anticipating the challenges and addressing them proactively will definitely help us to cope up with the stress. Then learning and optimal learning environment also will definitely help us to help students to be focused on learning and make them actively participate in any activities which that can contribute or could reduce their stress level. Then supportive relationship wherever at the workplace, or in if, say for example, if a student, for a student, their classmates and their relationship, their support will definitely going to help them to manage the stress. Then all these, the overall classroom management will focus on creating a positive and supportive learning environment, which is going to benefit the student and the teachers, and both students and teachers, by reducing stress. And it is going to promote good or conducive atmosphere for learning and growth, which is applicable both for teachers as well as for students. So, so these are the two important aspects with respect to classroom management. And the next one is work-life balance. Next strategy is work-life balance. So work-life balance, as we are known with, we should balance both our work and life, or in order to that is one of the most important strategy, which is definitely going to cope up with the stress. So what is work-life balance? It is an equilibrium an individual seeks to achieve between their personal life and with that of the professional responsibilities. So it is going to involve how are we managing time, the energy which we spend, and commitments in the way that allows for satisfaction and fulfillment in both work and the place, without both work and life, without one overshadowing the other. So we are not going to forgo work if we focus on life, or if we are not going to, when we focus on life, we are not going to forgo our work. So both have to be met equally. So how to meet it here? Let's see some of the key aspects. Like achieving a work-life balance is very subjective, and it depends on the individual preferences, his life circumstances. So it requires self-awareness and time management for both personal and professional aspects, personal and professional aspects of life which we are facing. So work-life balance is going to play a crucial role in managing stress, and it provides individuals with the opportunity to recharge, rejuvenate, and maintain the overall well-being. So, in what ways we can make balance our work and personal life? So, we can promote physical health. By promoting physical health, we can definitely balance our work and life. By enhancing mental well-being, we can balance by improving our understanding or at the workplace and at home, definitely it is going to manage the stress level. If there is a progress in our work, increasing productivity, definitely it is going to maintain the overall well-being of the individual. Reduced level of anxiety is definitely going to help us, or it is going to reduce the stress. So and if we are if enhancing overall satisfaction also will help to achieve the work life balances. So work life, if we are balancing it in a corrective manner, definitely we'll be able to cope up with the stress. So work life is it is just an instrument in managing the stress. It is going to promote the entire well-being of an individual. So another strategy, next one, emotional management. Emotional management, it is nothing but it refers to the ability to recognize or to understand and effectively manage our own emotions and reactions, especially when we are undergoing stress. So how are we going to manage this emotional stress which we are undergoing? So obviously, as I told earlier, mindfulness and relaxation techniques like say practicing meditating every day, or taking a deep breath exercise will definitely calm the mind and reduce the stress level. A few minutes each day we need to practice this, which will definitely going to reduce our stress level. Then healthy coping mechanism is yet another thing which is definitely helping us to cope up with this stress level. Communication skill, effective communication helps in expressing the emotion constructively. There are some people who are very introvert, who will not communicate, even if they undergo any difficult tough situation. Once if we express to others, we may or may not get a solution from the others, but our mind will be relaxed. We will be relaxed if we share our difficulties which we face to others. So communication is definitely going to help. Then seeking support is yet another important, which is definitely this is also if we undergo emotional stress, we need to seek support. With the help of others, we can cope up or we can come out of that stressful situation. So self-talk is another important one, where adopting a positive mindset and using affirmations. For example, if I undergo stress, I need to boost my own confidence, and that will definitely, if I have a positive self talk, definitely that will reduce my anxiety. So emotional management is involving self awareness or developing health coping strategies, or seeking support, which is definitely needed to get rid of stress. Next important strategy is supporting network. A supporting network, it plays a very important role in managing stress. It provides emotional, practical, social support during challenging times. When we are under any challenging situation, supporting network is definitely going to help us in coping those situation. So emotional support, say friends, family members, or even colleagues, helps you in your support network, can provide understanding or validate your feeling. So normally we'll have a close friend to whom we talk our difficulty which we face in our day to day life or at workplace. If we have any hard situation where we couldn't come out, we seek the help of our friends, or our peer support is definitely important. Then problem solving assistance. We trust a certain person and we seek a support from them in whenever we face any challenges in our life. So when we are facing any problem, definitely we need a solution. So we seek others and get a support in helping us to solve our problem. So this is also important. Social interaction and distraction is also important. One of the important ways of how to connect with the society. Then reduce the feeling of isolation. We are not supposed we are if we feel like we want to enjoy our loneliness, then that is not the best way. And if that stress keeps on increasing, we will never come out of the stress. So isolation reduced feeling of isolation is very, very important. Then healthier coping mechanism is also one of the important way of how to strengthen your networks. So strong supporting network, as how we discussed now, like promotional validation, practical assistance, problem solving, social interaction with the society, all this helps an individual navigate the stress more effectively. Then the next strategy is last strategy for coping up or for coming out of stress is utilizing technology. So as we are in an advanced as we are in this advancement of technology, as we are advancement in technology, so we have to utilize the technology in in whatever way it is going to benefit us in, so that will definitely help us in reducing the stress, because it is going to provide us a good platform, or it is going to provide us a good resource and a platform which is going to promote relaxation, organize from the task which we are performing. So I think we are aware of relaxation apps and mindful and relaxation apps, which is available, mobile apps which are available, and websites that offers some guidelines of meditation or relaxation techniques or breathing exercises. So that is so utilizing those advancement in technology will definitely help in reducing the stress level. At our hand, we have all the solutions where we can reduce the stress. So, and fitness and exercise tracking is yet another important. Digital wellness tools. There are tools and apps that are designed to promote digital wellness by monitoring the screen timing, setting usage limits. So, even in our the Apple screen time features or apps like which will definitely help us to promote a healthier balance between work and relaxation. So, and also there are available tele health and online counseling. Virtual platforms are available, which is enabling us to access to the mental health service, including therapy session and counseling. From the comfort of the house, at our house, we can access, or we can undergo online counseling session, which will definitely help us to improve our mental well-being. So time management and productivity apps are available, remote work and flexibility. From the lockdown period, we are some of the organizations are undergoing this work from home or a flexible schedule working hours. So this flexibility will definitely reduce stress which is associated with commuting or work-life balance and office work environment pressures. And Yet another way of using technology is education, skill development. Online learning platforms are available where you could access to workshops, or you could access the resources for any professional development. So learning new skills will definitely help us to will be a positive outlet for stress relief and personal growth. Then social connectivity, social media platforms are available where we can connect with friends, families, and colleagues, especially during physical distancing. So virtual social interactions provides emotional support, reduce feelings of isolation, and contribute to the overall well-being. By leveraging this technology responsibility and purposefully, individuals can enhance their ability to manage stress, improve well-being, and maintain the healthy balance between work, personal life, and leisure activities. So these are the effective strategies to manage stress. So to conclude, from my perception on stress management is effective stress management is not about eliminating stress altogether, which is not possible, which is often unrealistic also, but rather about developing skills and strategies to cope with stressors in a healthy and productive manner will definitely help an individual to come out of stress. So managing stress effectively will reduce the negative impact on physical and mental health. It also improves their resilience and enhance their overall quality of life. Thank you.
Participants are asked to your doubts, if any. Unmute your mic, then share your feedback.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
It's very useful information, ma'am. And then you explain very well, and then each and everything.
Thank
It's very useful for us, and then we are going to implement our students also, ma'am.
Definitely, ma'am.
Thank you for wonderful session, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for the feedback.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
It is wonderful session, ma'am. It's very informative. And some of the topics, some of the points, whichever you have shared with us, very helpful for us in our professional.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
ma'am.
so much. And if possible, share with us PPT, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. I will share with you the PPT.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Good
Yes,
Good
evening,
ma'am.
evening,
ma'am.
madam.
Hello. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you so much. That session was very wonderful and informative. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
valuable time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the
Thank you.
Good
Thank
feedback.
you.
Good,
evening,
e-
ma'am.
good evening,
Good
madam.
evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
I am Kadirvel, Dr. P. Kadirvel, Gobi Arts and Science College, Assistant Professor of Management, Gobi Arts and Science College, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
It is very useful to me, ma'am, especially for me because I thought a very lot of stress, ma'am. But it is very informative and useful session, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Good
Hello,
evening,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
I am Dr. I. Priya from Velumada Arts and Science College, Ramanathapuram, ma'am.
Good
It's a
evening, ma'am. Tell me.
really very useful session, ma'am.
Thank you so much,
Past
ma'am.
7 days, I thank the organizer for the past 7 days. Give the wonderful session for various resource person. It's a really nice, ma'am.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
I've
I
covered
am
all aspects of all the stress management. I
looking
will
forward to
see in
also session.
all your suggestions, and I want to thank all the organizers for all day 7 resource person. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Hello, good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir.
Madam, the session was really informative, and we had very insightful words which are used, and then lot of things you covered today, wherein talking about right from the classroom management, how it affects on the stress, and how we can
Yes,
manage the stress using the classroom management, time management, yoga, mindfulness. So I covered a lot of topics today, and then it was wonderful session, madam. I would like to thank the organizers and you, the speaker, and then all the other resource person as well. Thank you so much, madam.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your valuable feedback.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Dr.
Good evening,
Selvaraju.
sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, actually, I watched that your presentation from the beginning. So you are giving a wonderful presentation, especially you are giving the speech for how to remove the stress for the teaching faculty.
Yes,
But
sir.
sometimes the industrial people are asked to take this session for the stress management. If you are
Okay.
adding, this is my small request. If you are adding the this type of people, how you are going to reduce the stress, it's more valuable. If possible, next time you can add and give them uh, ideas about how to stress remove by the industrial and business people. But
Yes,
anyway,
definitely, sir.
your
First,
session is
initially, yes, sir.
it is wonderful and also knowledgeable for faculty members, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
sir.
organizer
Initially, I was
and
focusing on stress, but since
yeah,
it is a faculty development program, I got an idea of why not we go for managing strategies for managing stress at teachers level. So that is the reason next time we will focus on
Yeah,
general
yeah, yeah.
stress
Yes,
based
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
responses.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello. Good evening,
Good
madam.
evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello. It was a very informative session.
Thank you, ma'am.
I just wanted to ask, are there any stress measurement tools which can be used on students? The level of
Students.
To measure the level of stress among students or teachers.
So definitely we can take them for a counseling session, which will definitely help us to identify their stress level and which will help us to reduce their stress level. So counseling session is where every school level or at college level, counselor should be there in. So the techniques which a counselor uses will be more powerful in making them to get rid of stress.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. It
One
was
conversation. Yes,
yes, yes, ma'am. Thank you. We'll definitely send our students and teachers also for counseling from you.
definitely, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you,
Good
madam.
evening,
Thank
ma'am.
you,
Thank you,
participants.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, madam.